Delegates, please give it up for Executive Director Kim Anderson. Please give it up. She is our Executive Director of the largest labor union in this country. Yes, Kim Anderson. Yes. Oh, you are beautiful. Happy 4th of July, NEA. Thank you, delegates, for being here. Thank you to our international guests for joining us. To our dear friends, Susan Hopgood and David Edwards, President and General Secretary of Education International, thank you for your leadership and advocacy for educators and students and quality education around the world. To our 3 million members, to you, our delegates, to our Board of Directors, the NEA Executive Committee, our affiliate leaders, and to the incredible staff of the NEA, I say thank you for the expertise, the dedication, and the passion you devote every single day to fulfilling the mission of our beloved union. This is indeed a special but bittersweet day, and I'll tell you why. Today marks the last Representative Assembly for one of the most exceptional human beings to work on NEA staff. And I know he'll appreciate me leading with the numbers. He's worked here for over 11,904 days, or 425 months, or 35 years. He has supported 6 NEA presidents, 6 secretary-treasurers, 4 executive directors. He has supported 35 representative assemblies, 147 board meetings, 148 budget committee meetings. Delegates, Michael McPherson, NEA's Chief Financial Officer, is retiring. Yeah, Michael! Mike is known as much for his heart as he is for his fiscal integrity and acumen. He's welcoming and kind and generous with his time and his mentorship. Delegates, I cannot begin to tell you how hard this man has worked for you, the students you serve, and for the cause of public education. Mike, the numbers tell a story, but the depth of what you mean to all of us is incalculable. Delegates, I hope you will give a resounding round of applause for a well-deserved and distinguished career, one of the most distinguished staff members to serve this organization, Michael McPherson. I knew that was going to be hard. And of course, there's another person to thank for her visionary, purposeful, passionate leadership, and that is our President, Becky Pringle. You are a force of nature. It's an honor to work by your side every day. Delegates, when we gathered in Chicago last summer, one of the deadliest school shootings had just happened in Uvalde, Texas. The Don't Say Gay bill was just signed into law right here in this state. The Supreme Court had just overturned Roe v. Wade and burned down the wall of separation between church and state in the voucher case. I was really angry. We all were. And you know what? We still are, because we knew then that that was just the start. As you heard yesterday from Becky and from FEA President Andrew Spar And from our brilliant General Counsel, Alice O'Brien, the fight for freedom and equal opportunity and basic human dignity has intensified. The court and politicians who support them have taken yet another sledgehammer to some very fundamental principles that we all thought were long settled. That diversity is a strength, that individual liberty should not sanction discrimination. On this 4th of July, I again find myself returning to John Stuart Mill, who said, "Liberty is that of pursuing our own good in our own way, so long as we do not attempt to deprive others of theirs or impede their efforts to obtain it." Delegates, we know this. Our society cannot be truly free without liberty and liberation. Liberation from hatred, liberation from societal systems that continue to perpetuate inequities, liberation from a rising tide of both anger and isolation that is contributing to one of the most significant mental health crises in our country. And it is frustrating our quest to make America a more perfect union. So I've been reflecting a lot about the role of anger in social change. Anger isn't the why to our fight. Love is the reason why we fight. Love is actually what fuels our anger, not the other way around. Love is what gets you out of bed every morning to show up for your students, no matter what. Love is why we chose this work in the first place, a love of children and students, and a deep love for the value of public education to our students, to our communities, and to our society. Now, I'm not just talking about some soft, passive sentiment. The love I'm talking about is a love that listens as much as it speaks. A love that understands that rights come with responsibilities. A love that solves problems for as many people in as many places as humanly possible. I learned from educators that love starts with listening. When we listen to our students, we don't just learn about what excites them or worries them, engages them or frustrates them. We also learn what they need from us. We heard that today from Helena. Wasn't she incredible? Incredible. Our students need acceptance. A student right here in Florida who has sued to challenge one of Governor DeSantis's laws said, "It's shocking and horrifying to see how quickly the Don't Say Gay law has been able to change school culture." Well, to all the students across the United States, just like Helena said, we're going to say gay, and we're going to say gay all day. Ideas don't scare us. Words don't scare us. People don't scare us. One of our students, and our students we know need safety. Gun violence prevention activist Emma Gonzalez, former student at Stoneman Douglas High School, said, "If all our government can do is send thoughts and prayers, it's time for us to be the change we need to see." Our students need opportunity. A Florida college student who was part of the effort to save tuition for DACA students here recently said, "I came from Venezuela at a very young age, and education has been the cornerstone of what the United States has given me." Our students need justice. Kansas, where are you? Stand up, Kansas. Stand up, Kansas. If anyone in America wants to get a pulse on what our students are crying out for, I implore you to visit justimaginejustice.org. Delegates, Just Imagine Justice is a student expression campaign organized by Kansas NEA to lift up the powerful voices of our students. KNEA recently just announced their second-class scholarship winners of the campaign. Their vision is so powerful, so expansive, so beautiful. Thank you, KNEA, for giving students a platform to be heard and to remind us of what our country can be. NEA members, you are among the first people to hear our students. You lend them a loving and listening ear every day. You counsel them when they're afraid. You support them when they're hurting. You cheer them on so they can achieve their dreams. Well, thankfully, we're not the only ones who are listening. In fact, polling shows that the majority of Americans agree that our students deserve acceptance and safety and opportunity and justice. They agree that students need fully and equitably funded schools. They agree that students need curriculum and a teaching and learning approach that is learner-centered and prepares them for a rapidly changing economy and world. These should be basic rights for every student in America. But what we know, and what our students know, is that the advancement of our basic rights is a responsibility. Securing these rights is not automatic. It takes action. Oregon, where are you? Our members in Oregon did that across the state in their school board elections this year. OEA members stood together with parents and students and community members and won 84% of their school board races, defeating anti-public education candidates, far-right candidates whose ideas were harmful to public education and students. We've seen these trends in lots of other states too. So let me tell you something. Elected leaders need to listen to our students and their educators. Elected leaders here in Florida need to listen to our students and their educators. Leaders who ban books rather than bullets need to listen to our students and their educators. Leaders who sow division rather than champion diversity need to listen to our students and their educators. And leaders who would rather spread lies than solve problems need to listen to our students and our educators and our communities. To all elected leaders and media pundits out there, I truly believe you cannot claim to love America's students if you refuse to listen to them and take action. That is not what love for our students looks like. And our students know that. And we do too, and the majority of Americans know that as well. I'm proud that throughout our history at NEA, educators have taken this responsibility seriously. Delegates, you are part of an organization with a history of stepping into that responsibility with a fierce love and understanding of our calling as educators and as a union. Educators fought to integrate schools. Educators fought for voting rights for all Americans. Educators helped ensure that science, including evolution, was a core part of public school curriculums. Educators helped pass Title I and IDEA. Educators fought for Pell Grants and Perkins loans. Educators fought for marriage equality and so much more. Today, we have a responsibility to continue this tradition by harnessing our anger and acting out of love for our students and the nation they will one day lead. After all, freedom is not our inheritance. The fight for freedom is. But love, just like the fight for freedom, isn't easy. It requires action and it requires solutions. And on this front, NEA is in motion. NEA loves hard, Becky. We love hard. In addition to the victories that Becky mentioned yesterday, I also want to lift up that in the last year alone, education funding has reached record levels in states like Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, and Idaho. Lawmakers in states like Washington, Colorado, and Maryland have passed common sense gun safety legislation. And in South Carolina, lawmakers have passed 6 weeks of paid parental leave for school employees. North Dakota and Georgia beat back vouchers time and time again. And in lots and lots of states, we've seen educators of all job categories receiving salary increases. Now, Texas, we have to join you and get Governor Abbott to give our Texas retirees a cost of living adjustment that they haven't seen in 20 years. And Becky, you know, you talked yesterday about Michigan winning all the things. All the things? Well, let me tell you something. Where's Gladys? I think Illinois is going to give you a run for your money, Michigan. Listen to this, delegates. IEA worked now to join Hawaii to become the second state in the country to enshrine collective bargaining in the state constitution. In the state constitution, second state in the country. Illinois became the first state in the nation to put a ban on banning books. Illinois rolled back vouchers and they won 90% of their school board races. Give it up for IEA. Our members are coming together with parents and students and communities and local businesses and faith leaders to find common ground and demand it from our lawmakers. Luckily, there are lawmakers out there who spend more time demonstrating grit than contributing to gridlock, who are more committed to doing rather than dividing. And there are folks like Katie Hobbs in Arizona and Governor Andy Beshear in Kentucky who stand up against bad policies that harm our students and educators and communities. And let's not forget 2 other lawmakers we have on our side. We just heard from one of them. And yes, I'm talking about President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. The Biden-Harris administration is the most productive, most pro-public education, most pro-union administration in our nation's history. In our nation's history. It's not surprising. It's not surprising not only because they understand how to make a country strong, but it's not surprising because Jill's our member. They demonstrate every day that loving America means loving and doing right by all Americans, protecting all Americans' liberties and health and safety and economic opportunity. Before the first 100 days were up, the Biden-Harris administration facilitated the single largest investment in public education in our nation's history. He just talked about it, the American Rescue Plan. And let me tell you something, NEA, we went to work. NEA created a rescue plan network of affiliates, experts in our affiliates across the states to make sure that that money was spent on what educators and students truly needed in their communities. We put clothes on the back of our students in Georgia and food in the bellies of our students in Idaho. We expanded early learning for our little ones in New Mexico and New York. And our public employees in Montana and across the country used the American Rescue Plan to keep our cities and states running as smoothly as possible. We just heard the president say, the American Rescue Plan has resulted in more school workers, school nurses, school counselors than we had pre-pandemic. It's helped us get lead out of school pipes and provided $10 billion of upgrades to school ventilation systems across the country. And you know what all those raises in states have in common that you mentioned yesterday, Becky? They were all made possible by the American Rescue Plan. Delegates, I want you to see some folks. Will the NEA Board of Directors, the state affiliate presidents, and the NEA Executive Committee please stand? Please stand. Please stand. These folks go to Capitol Hill and take your stories and the stories of our students at least 3 times a year. We demonstrate our voice and our power to make this country better. Please give them a round of applause. Not long after the ARP came the BIL. The bipartisan infrastructure law that's been so critical in creating and paving the way for electric school buses. I got to give a shout out to Vice President Kamala Harris. Her leadership is allowing us to build big yellow electric school buses so that fewer kids will be coughing from bus fumes, so that our education support professionals and our students will breathe easier on their way to and from school. There's more. Surprised you didn't mention it. The Inflation Reduction Act, a law that makes the Biden-Harris administration's core beliefs clear, that no matter one's race or place, we deserve to fill our lungs with fresh, clean air. We deserve fresh, clean water. A shout out to the Mississippi Association of Educators, who organized and stood up with community activists in Jackson to raise the national consciousness about the water crisis in that city. Delegates, imagine having to boil water for almost a year just to cook and drink and bathe. Imagine that. Well, MAE and NEA's efforts secured over $600 million to solve the water crisis for thousands of families and students, and yes, MAE members. We deserve to be able to afford the prescription drugs we need. Capping insulin at $35 a month is literally life-changing and life-saving for countless of Americans. We deserve a society in which corporations and the super wealthy don't cheat Americans by avoiding taxes and paying more of their fair share. Massachusetts can tell you about that. And the Inflation Reduction Act stands for the proposition that our children deserve to inherit a healthy planet. Now, if that's not love, I don't know what is. And NEA, you helped make that happen. Elections and advocacy matter. Under the Biden-Harris administration, more people are working than at any point in American history. More people have health insurance than at any point in American history. There's more money in your pockets, from public school loan forgiveness to the child care tax credit to housing assistance to lowering energy costs and health care costs. The most diverse set of judicial nominees in history. You heard Alice the other day. You heard her. The huge investment in modernizing America's roads and bridges and core infrastructure. And this administration guided us out of a worldwide pandemic. And so now, delegates, in 2023 and 2024, we are doubling down on our political efforts. NEA, we're going to hold on to the Senate, we're going to take back the House, and we're going to re-elect President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. NEA, you show me every day that the answer to divisiveness is togetherness, and that love is what unites us, and so do our public schools. Love is what brings us closer and makes us stronger, and so do our public schools. Listening to the needs of others and finding our common values and shared interests, that's the work of organizing, and it begins with love. When we love through difference, that's the work of democracy. When we choose love over hate, that's the work of liberation. When we attack broken systems instead of people, that's the work of liberation. When we embrace every American for who they are, that's the work of justice. The late and great Representative John Lewis said, "When we were sitting in, it was love in action. When we went on the Freedom Ride, it was love in action. The march from Selma to Montgomery was love in action. We do not do it simply because it's the right thing to do, but it's love in action. Delegates, love isn't left or right. It moves us forward. Let us transform our righteous anger into fierce love in action. Love in action for our students. Love in action for our professions. Love in action for our communities. Love in